Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello everyone and welcome to your English class. In our lesson today, we will continue with our third unit, which is titled What Will Be, Will Be. Our lesson today is the writing lesson in your books, page 42 and 43. What you need for the lesson today is your books, page 42 and 43, a sheet of paper and a pen to take down your notes. So let's get started with the homework. You were supposed to come up with a story. Have you ever heard or read about a hidden treasure? When was it hidden and what did people find? What was the treasure itself? We have heard about the farmer's story who had hidden the idea of, he told his son that he had a treasure that is hidden under the field. So I want you here to listen again to the story and come up with the order from 1 to 7. We're having here 7 pictures: a sick old man, an old man who's working, a treasure box, and we're having three young men digging, someone who is looking at the crop, someone who is seeding. So try to listen and come up with the correct order. Let's listen.
Once, there was an old man who had 3 sons. All of them were very lazy. One day, the old man fell sick and was counting his last days in bed. He worried a lot about their future as the young men hesitated a lot to work. The old man decided to play a trick to let his sons realize the importance of work. He called all his sons and said that he had a treasure box with gold coins and expensive gems for them and wanted to share the treasure equally among the 3 of them. The young men were very happy and asked where his father had placed the treasure. The old man replied, "I cannot exactly remember the place where I have hidden the treasure. However, the treasure box is buried in our land." Even though the lazy young sons were happy, they were sad that the old man had forgotten the place where the treasure was hidden. The sons decided to dig the land to find the treasure box. They worked very hard and dug their land. But they could not find any treasure box in the land. A passerby who noticed the land talked to the sons about farming. Upon his advice, the 4 sons sowed vegetable seeds, and planted greens and flowering plants in their land. Within a few weeks, it became a fertile garden with nutritious vegetables and greens. They sold the vegetables at a good price and earned a good amount of money. Then they realized that it was hard work that was referred to as treasure box by their father. Gradually, the 4 sons overcame their laziness, worked hard, earned more money and lived happily. Hard work always pays.
So let's try to put these pictures in the correct order. At the beginning, we're having here an old man who works at his own field or farm. Then, one day, he had 3 sons that all of them, they don't like to work with him. He wanted them to work with him, however, they didn't like the idea. One day, he felt very sick, and he felt that he is dying. So he told his 3 sons about a treasure that had been hidden in this field. I can't remember where this treasure is. All you need is just to dig and find the treasure. Then they were very excited and they went and they digged into the land. When they finished, they couldn't find any treasure. However, a passerby, someone, told them about the idea of farming and seeding. They started seeding and they put all the seeds all around, and because they're having a good land, a fertile land, soon it all grew and they had the fruits, which is the real treasure. They understand that their land is the treasure and the fruit is what will bring them the money. Okay, so this is about the farmer's 3 sons story. For the writing lesson today, you will be able to take notes on a written text and write your own stories. We will start with notes, then we will go to the writing part. Okay, so we have spoken about the idea of writing your own story. We're having certain components. These components are the audience, characters, setting, plot, and I want you to match them with these. Which one means the time and place? Which one means events and actions? Which one means people in the story? And which one is the readers? Let's start. The audience means that you are readers, those people who are going to read your stories. And based on them, you will come up with something that is very interesting for them and something that is suitable for their level of language. Characters, people as well, but these are the people within the story, like the farmer and his sons. Setting, it is the time and place, where and when. Plot is the series of events and actions. What happened, then what, then later on until the end of the story, the beginning and the end of the events. Okay, if you still remember Keeper of Hidden Treasure, we're having it in here. It is about the octopus who were the audience. You can just pause the video and go back to page 42, read again, and then you can fill out these. Who are the audience for this story? The audience are the book readers. We are. The language is very suitable to us. We are the target for the writer. Who are the characters? The people or the things within the story. It happened to whom? To a Korean fisherman. A Korean fisherman. Also, the setting, place and time, when and where did it happen. The place is a Korean shore, and when the Korean shore was fishing. So this is a summary, the main points of the story. Then we will get to the plot. What do we mean by the plot? The plot is the order of the events. What happened at the beginning, then, next, later, and until the end. So, the order. A fisherman or a Korean fisherman caught an octopus that had bits of blue pottery attached to its tentacles. Then, he thought that this one should be a seashell. He moved to the other one. Then, he caught another octopus that had a whole plate coat on its tentacles. And this is the moment of realization. He realized that there is something that is hidden. It's not only seashells. There must be a treasure. I have heard about a shipwreck that is broken and it is under this shore. Then he contacted the museum, reported that to the museum. Then exploration led to the discovery of 30 perfect examples of the 12th century balls. So he didn't do the exploration himself. The museum led the exploration and they found the treasure, which was 30. How many? They were 30 12th century pottery bowls. They were very precious and old. So the order of the events, we can start with, at the beginning, we're having the fisherman was fishing, and by the very end, it led to the exploration of the hidden treasure. Okay, so these they are. Back to your books, page 43. Exercise B. I want you to think of a story about a hidden treasure, your own story, that you have heard or read about. Make notes in the chart below and then use your notes to write a story. So we will use the notes to come up with a story. Here we're having a story. Let's start with the first one. Why did he hide it? Here we're speaking about whom? The farmer and his 3 sons. And the farm. Why did he hide the treasure? He hid the treasure because he wanted to teach his sons about hard work. Who was he? He was the farmer, the old man. Where was it hidden? The treasure was hidden in the field, the farm, their farm. What was the treasure? The treasure itself was the crops, the farm crops, which is the fruit, the vegetables. Here we're having the cones and the others. And also, who found it? Who found the treasure? They were his sons, his 3 sons. How did they find it? They tried. Did they swim down the sea? No, it was in the field. So they, after digging and seeding, they digged the whole land, then they seeded it, then it grew. What did they do with it? They found the crops, then what did they do? They made a good use of it. They sold it and got the money back. And that was the real treasure, which is hard work. So, the old farmer and his sons. Let's start with the order of the actions in here. The old man told his lazy sons that he had a treasure box hidden in the field. This is the beginning of the story. Then, we're having the sons dug the land to find the treasure box. Now started the action. Then, they seeded the land as advised by a passerby. Someone told them to seed and they did. Then, the sons sold the crop at a good price and they earned a good amount of money. So, from the beginning until the end, what is the order of the events? What happened at the beginning, then we ended up with? At the beginning, digging for the hidden treasure, and by the end, sold the crop for a good price. Okay? Now let's go to another story in here, which is about someone who found a treasure in his farm as well. So, here I will tell you, why did he hide it? Why do you think so? Because he wants to keep it safe. And who hid the treasure? He was the farmer's grandparent. And where was it hidden? The place. It was hidden in his own field, in his farm. What was the treasure itself? The treasure was money and gold. So it was precious money and gold. Who found the treasure? Who was he? He was the farmer himself, the young one this time. How did he find it? Was he thinking about the idea of finding the treasure? No, actually, he was looking for his hammer. He lost his hammer and he was trying to find it. Then he found the treasure. Then what did he do with the treasure? He sold it to the British Museum. Sold it to the British Museum. Let's put these about the hidden treasure in the correct order. The plot, the order of the events. A farmer misplaced his hammer while working in the field. His hammer, he needed the hammer to dig. So he was using it. He misplaced it in somewhere and he totally forgot where it is. Then what did he do? He called on a friend with a metal detector. He had a friend, a friend who's having a metal detector. It's like a tool that will tell you that underneath this area of land there is a metal, maybe gold, iron, or silver. So he called on his friend. Then they discovered a collection of gold, jewels, silver spoons, and coins. Now it is the discovery time. What did they do? The British Museum purchased the treasure and the hammer as well. So the British Museum offered them the money. Just give us the treasure and your hammer as well, and we will give you the money back. And they agreed. So beginning and end, started with searching for the hammer and ended up with the exploration of the hidden treasure that was hidden by his grandfather. Now we are going to start with the writing itself. However, I want you to remember these are our writing rules. Always remember to put your ideas in the correct order. Don't come up with any action or any word that is not related. Ideas all about the same, about the hidden treasure. The hidden treasure we're talking about. Then, paragraphs. If you're going to put your sentences in paragraphs, make sure that each one paragraph is about one idea. Do not mix the paragraphs together. Then, grammar. Make sure that you are using the correct tense. Past, if it is a story that happened in the past, so past. Predicting the future, use the future tense. Then, always make sure that you are using correct spelling. Use the correct spelling and always make sure that you are checking it by the end of the writing. Capitalization. You can check Unit 1 for capitalization. If it is a name, capital letter. If it is a title, capital letter. And also the idea of punctuations, when to put a full stop, comma, or a question mark. These are the punctuations. Okay, now we will have them sentence by sentence, or let's say idea by idea. The first one is a farmer misplaced his hammer while working in the field. This is the note that I have written. I will come up from this one, I will come up with a new sentence. I will come up with, I will elaborate, tell more about it. So what will I say? Here, I will say, a farmer misplaced his hammer while working in the field. He looked for days till he lost hope. So just add one or two sentences. These sentences are going to elaborate, give a vivid image and a more description about the story. The reader is going to like the extra sentences because they will give them clear picture about the surrounding. So, a farmer misplaced his hammer while working in a field. He looked for days till he lost hope. Then what happened? We said that he called on a friend with a metal detector. So we will continue in here. A friend heard about it and offered him help. Here we're having help. We have to check spelling. And offered help. He said that he had a metal detector that could find any metal object. The farmer agreed to give it a chance. However, he wasn't very sure. So here we are telling about how he thought about the idea of using a metal detector. He said a friend heard about the idea of losing his hammer. Then he offered help. He said, I will help you. He said that he had a metal detector that could find any metal object. Now we are describing what is a metal detector. Not everyone knows about it. The farmer agreed to give it a chance. He said yes. And we will tell that he wasn't very sure about it. At the beginning, he wasn't very sure, but he said, it's okay, let's give it a try. Then, they discovered a collection of gold jewels, also silver spoons and coins. Let's come up with the sentences. After days of hard work, the two, discovered a collection of gold jewels, silver spoons and coins that may have been buried by the farmer's great-grandparents as early as the 4th century to keep it safe during the war. We're having here extra information that is helpful. So, days of hard work, the two discovered a collection of, just as we mentioned here, silver and gold spoons, coins, that who buried them? The farmer's great-grandparent. When? As early as the 4th century. Why? To keep it safe during the war. So we are giving extra information just to give a complete picture. Now let's go ahead. The British Museum purchased the treasure and the hammer. So we will say here, we will come up with a sentence. After catching wind of the discovery, the British Museum purchased the treasure. Even the farmer's hammer was also recovered, as it is the reason to discover the treasure. So after catching wind of the discovery, everyone knows about the idea of finding a treasure. Catching wind, the idea of spreading the news. The British Museum purchased the treasure because it is something that is ancient, very old. Even the farmer's hammer was also recovered, as it is the reason of the discovery of the treasure. So it was precious as well, the hammer itself. Now we have written our old sentences. Now we will put them in the correct order. The hidden treasure. Let's put our first sentence in here. A farmer misplaced his hammer while working in the field. Let's notice we started with a capital letter for capitalization. Then we ended up with a full stop. The following sentence starts with a capital letter. He looked for days till he lost hope. Ended it up with a full stop. Notice we're using here the past tense because we are giving a story that happened in the past. The following idea will come next. Make sure that you are not starting a new line until you are starting a new paragraph. A friend heard about it and offered him help. Here we're having Ella again. Capital A. A friend offered him help. Full stop. Then we will start with a capital letter. He said that he had a metal detector that could find any metal object. We ended up with a full stop. So here we're having a full stop. Then start with the capital letter. The farmer agreed to give it a chance. Here, notice we're using a comma because we're having however. He wasn't very sure. Full stop. Following idea. After days of hard work, the two discovered a collection of gold jewels, silver spoons, and coins that may have been buried by the farmer's great-grandparent as early as the 4th century to keep it safe during the war. Capital letter in here, notice. Then we're having a comma because this one is a time phrase. After days of hard work, they discovered a collection of gold jewels. We're having a list, so comma, comma, and. That may have been buried by the farmer's great-grandparent as early as the 4th century to keep it safe during the war. Full stop. Following the last sentence or the last idea, after catching wind of the discovery, we started with a capital letter in here, then a comma after the time phrase. The British Museum, notice the capitalization because this one is a name for a place, for the museum. The British Museum purchased the treasure. Ended up with a full stop in here, and then we will have even. Even the farmer's hammer was also recovered as it is the reason to discover the treasure, and ended up with a full stop. These are the punctuations. We have noticed all the things that are required. So, in this writing, I want you to refer. There is a checklist in your books, page 127, in your books, page 27, which is about a short description. What do you do when you are trying? I want you to check how good your paragraphs are. I can, then I was great, I am good, I am okay, or I need work. I need to work more on my writing. What are the categories that we are going to compare against? Take notes when I think or imagine things. Ask yourself, can I take notes? Or I need to listen more and more and read more and more. Am I good, great, okay, or I need to work more? And you self-assess yourself. How about focus on my audience? While you are writing, are you using a language that is suitable to your audience, the ones who are reading your story? Are you using information that is suitable to them, for young, old people? Also, describe places well. Also, the idea of describing places. Where does it take place? At home, outside, in Saudi Arabia, outside? So just describe it very well. Also, the idea of organize and order events and facts. Are you using the chronological order? The old thing, the newer, newest. Try to make sure that you are using the correct order. Make clear and effective statements. Are your sentences and the ideas, are they clear? Are they adding to the story, or they are just like to add words? Use tenses correctly. In a story in here, we're using the past tense. Am I using the correct tense? Use a range of vocabulary, and this one is important. When you are writing, make sure that you are using a variety of vocabulary. Not, let's say, a farmer, then you will say a farmer again and repeating it. No, the old man, the old farmer, the farmer. So come up with, show me how good your language is, how many vocabulary that you can use. Also, refer to people and places effectively. So when you are speaking about the sons, we will say they. When we are speaking about the farmer, we will say he. And also use appropriate language and style. Is it like formal, informal? Is it the style that is a letter, whatever the thing that you are writing? Self-assess yourself against this chart or this checklist. For your homework, I want you to write your own story. Come up with your own story. Check your writing with the checklist on page 127. It is on page 127. Okay? I guess that is it for our lesson today, and thank you so much for your time.